Hi, so welcome everyone to our Wednesday evening yin class. So we are going to start lying down. You will need some props. So just to say that, do make sure you've got your pillows, your blankets, and then an extra blanket or a towel that you can roll up. And then you can find your way down onto your back. And you might have the soles of the feet on the mat, the feet a little bit wider than the hips, so that the knees can gently touch if that feels good for the lower back, or maybe just simply the legs long. And you might just see if you can roll the shoulders down the back, gently draw the chin towards the chest so the back of the neck becomes nice and long. And sometimes, if you've been busy or you've been very active today, this week, you might kind of even feel that this kind of just laying on your back. There's a lot of sensation, maybe even a slight bit of discomfort I sometimes find, particularly lower back. So do, let yourself just gradually and softly release in. And then just take some longer, deeper breaths if you haven't already. It almost feels like the most natural thing to do. Take those longer breaths to draw you down into the body and into the earth. Oh, hey there, Flo. We're starting lying down when you're ready. And then just allow your awareness to settle on the breath, but allow the breath to just come and go as it needs to, as it pleases. Nothing to control, nothing to do. Just that settling in and being here for a bit. So for those of you that have been to classes this week already, you'll know that we're exploring appreciation in place of expectations. And appreciation is said to be the fuel for happiness. It helps us to see all the beauty and wonder that is around us all the time. And it's often the expectations of ourselves or people in our lives or the experiences that we think we're going to have in a certain way. It's often what prevents us from seeing the beauty. So we've really been focusing on seeing if we can let go of expectations, maybe noticing any habitual thinking habits that we have around expectations. And in place of that, drawing in appreciation and gratitude. So allow your awareness to settle at the heart, at the center of the chest. So hey there, Claire, we're just starting lying down when you're ready. And just feeling the breath at the center of the chest. So feel the chest rise as you inhale. And just gently fall back down as you exhale. And you might even feel a little bit of gratitude for your heart in this space. For your heart that beats and does all the amazing things in your body without you needing to do anything. And your emotional heart that loves and forgives. Just resting in the presence of your heart. And almost that kind of infinite capacity for it to feel and to enrich your life. If we Imagine what our life might be like without emotions, good or bad. It would be very plain. So recognize or give thanks to your heart that brings you pleasure and joy and happiness. And just resting in that warmth maybe, or maybe relaxation or openness or anything else that you feel there. You might just notice who is there in your heart, or what is there in your heart. Maybe people, pets, things, experiences, the things you hold dear. And then begin to deepen your breath. So long inhales, long exhales, and then hug the knees into the chest. You might have a little rock side to side, or you might just simply pause. Sometimes I like to pause and just interlace the fingers around the knees and just almost like the knees just settle in towards belly and chest. You don't have to do anything. Can be quite a deep stretch just on its own, just a simple settling. See if you can allow shoulders to soften into the earth, and no issues in the neck is soft. And then when you're ready, we're going to roll onto our left side. So for this, you could have a pillow, one of your pillows for your head. So come onto your left and really stack the knees and stack the hips, so you really feel quite comfortable there. And that left shoulder might slightly sit underneath the pillow, and that left hand reach out to the side so it's in line with the shoulder. And then bring that right hand to stack on top of the left hand. So everything's kind of very nicely stacked on top of one another. Maybe hopefully you feel kind of really comfy and cozy here. And we're going to move a little bit with our breath, and then we'll settle into a twist and see if you can keep the knees and the hips stacking as you move through this. So as you inhale, bring that right hand up to the top, and then as you exhale, begin to bring it over to the right. So at that point, when you start to bring it over to the right, you might feel that you need to go into cactus arm rather than reaching the hand out to the side. Just see what happens, see what you need to do to obviously not create pain or anything, any issues in that shoulder. And then as you inhale, come back up to the top, so reaching the hand back up. And then as you exhale, stack the palms back on top of one another. So doing that a couple of times with your breath, inhaling to reach the hand up, and then exhale, bringing the hand over to the right. And it's almost like that right shoulder begins to sink down towards the right. And then as you inhale, come back up. Exhale, the hands come back together again. And then inhale to the top. And then as you exhale and settle over on this side, this time, just allow yourself to really settle in. So it's very similar to the twist that we normally do, but there's more of an emphasis in the shoulder and the top of the chest and like the collarbone area. And it might take you kind of several breaths, several exhales to allow that shoulder and arm to release down. But remember, no pain. So if you need to maybe bring the hand to the shoulder, that can sometimes release anything. Or if you need to prop the hand or the shoulder in any way, then please do that. Be here a couple of minutes. Sometimes it can feel like a really nice opening as well. So see how that is for you. And you can bring your awareness back to the breath, and specifically the exhalation now. So the exhalation that allows you to gradually relax the body, to release down into the earth without too much effort. The exhalation has a wonderful way of turning on that rest and digest part of the nervous system. And moving out of stress and overwhelm and into that place of rest, so that the body can be nourished and heal. You might even sense that the exhalation gradually gets longer and longer without you really doing anything. Just a natural part of moving into that resting phase. And then on your next inhale, bringing that hand back up to the top. And exhale, bring the hands back together again and just lay on that left side for a few breaths. Just noticing any sensations or feelings that are there. And then rolling onto your back. And when you come to your back, you might quite naturally do some movement. So you might draw the knees in, circle through the knees or hips, or remember you've always got that option of just simply pausing. So really go with where feels right. And then when you're ready, moving on to your right side, so come to lie on your right. Really take a bit of time to kind of settle the shoulder nicely down. Make sure the head is supported, so you're not holding the head in any way. Reach the hands out to the side. You can stack the palms. And you can do a few breaths with that, so you're inhaling, reaching that left hand up. And as you exhale, bringing the hand over and back. And then inhaling back up to the top. And then exhaling over to the left. Inhaling up. Exhaling back. And you might just settle on that round, or you might do it one more time if it feels, sometimes a bit of movement is actually useful to being able to settle into a pose. And then come into a place where you can release that shoulder and that hand over towards the left. So maybe you stack the hands, maybe you come into cactus arms. That tends to be my favorite position for this. Or maybe bringing the fingertips to the shoulder. Does that soften it for you? So just feel into that, what would be right. And using those exhalations to gradually release. And remember, no pain or discomfort. So if you're sensing anything doesn't feel right in the neck or the shoulder, just back away. So when we consider the things that we are habitual thinking around expectations, we can see that there's a lot of things we expect in life. We expect hot water to come out of the tap. We expect the fridge to keep our food cold. We expect our legs to take us where we want to go. We generally expect our cars to start and our phones to have Wi-Fi. There are a lot of things we expect in life. You might just consider, are there any others that you habitually expect? And then, for many of us, when we bring in a sense of stress or overwhelm, our expectations kind of go up a gear, if you like, and they can add a certain level of fear to our expectations. So we can start expecting our friends to disappoint us, our partner to be late, the kids to be ungrateful, our colleagues to be difficult. So really, where our attention goes, our energy flows, as we know. And so our expectations that we will be let down or disappointed come to shape our reality. So remember that with all of this, all the things that we're exploring, this is all about habitual ways of thinking that are deeply ingrained in the mind. But when we bring awareness to them, that little light of awareness, that's when we can begin to release or change or invite in things like appreciation as an antidote. So when you're ready, take another inhale and bring that left hand back up to the top. And then exhale, stacking the palms again. And just pausing on that side for a few breaths. And then rolling back onto your back. Again, maybe there's a little bit of movement or just simple stillness for a few breaths. And then either rolling on the length of the spine to come up or roll to one side to come up. And we'll come up to tabletop. So hips over knees, shoulders over wrists. And we'll just have a few rounds of cat-cow. But as ever, it's kind of slow and mindful and with the breath. So as you inhale, the belly drops, gazing up. And then as you exhale, rounding through the spine, pressing through the palms, chin to chest. Moving a couple of times like that. And remember, these movements can be really soft. You don't have to go to like what you might feel as your fullest pose that maybe you would do if you were doing more of a dynamic class. This can always be a little bit softer in our yin. It can sometimes be nice and even interesting to see how that feels. And then you might do a few circles through the hips. And then circle the other way. And then sit back to child's pose for a couple of breaths. You might make a pillow with the hands. You might bring the hands beside the body. And then inhale to roll up. And this is when we're going to take our rolled up blanket and bring it underneath the shoulder blades. So pop that down. And if you come down and you realize it's too deep, it's too much, you could unroll it a little bit so you've only got a little sausage shape. So see how it is. So it wants to go directly underneath the shoulder blades, kind of bra strap area. You'll kind of, when you get there, you'll kind of know. So if it doesn't quite feel right, play around with it. And then The shoulders and the head coming down. The back of the head is definitely touching. Maybe some of the shoulders touch. Maybe not all of the shoulder blades touch. And you might come into cactus arms. You might have the hands out to the side. If that doesn't feel great for shoulders, then they might be on the body. And the knees might be bent. Soles of the feet might be together, or you might have the legs long. See which feels right. So remember, no pain. There might be strong sensations, but no pain. And do play around with it if you need to. So if you get into it and you go, ooh, that's pretty strong, do kind of honor what you're feeling and what you're sensing, and don't just kind of think, oh, I'll just stay here, it'll be fine. Come back out and unravel it, unroll it a little bit, and then you might find that you can actually get to a place where you can stay. This can be quite an intense pose, I find, and it might be partly that so often if we're working, driving, the shoulders are coming forward, they're not going back. And even in our society, social world, kind of having shoulders back and open, it isn't what we generally do. Even though that's probably what we should do to keep this alignment in the body, but we don't. We kind of getting on with our day, the shoulders tend to roll forward. And, add a level of stress or overwhelm to that, then they'll perhaps come forward even further. So be kind here, be gentle, and just feel that kind of general opening of the heart. Pay attention to the breath at the heart. And at the beginning we considered who or what was in our heart. Are we able now to invite ourselves into our heart as well? Seeing ourselves there and really offering maybe a few deep welcoming breaths to yourself in your heart in whatever way makes sense and feels right for you. Breathing a sense of connection to yourself. Maybe breathing into a sense of gratitude for yourself, for all that you are, for all that you've achieved, for all your successes. Simply showing up on your mat. Pretty amazing. So recognize that. And then take another deep inhale. And as you exhale, begin to release. So you might roll off if it doesn't feel right coming back up the way you went in. You might roll onto your side and then come up. And when you do, you can just move your blanket out of the way and come back to your tabletop. And again, it might be a few soft cat-cows, or you might just sit back to child's pose and pause. Just notice how that feels. And then when you're ready, come to sit. So bring the legs round. I'm going to go into our half butterfly pose. So you can have the right leg out to the side and the left sole of the foot. Bend that knee and then bring the sole of the foot in towards the thigh. Tuck away with the pelvis at the back. Bring the hands beside the hips. Take an inhale. Find some length. Have a little bit of pressure through the heel on that right foot. And then as you exhale, begin to turn towards the bent leg, so the left leg, bringing the right hand over towards the knee or the thigh. and then that left hand behind. So a little bit of a twist, but you want to kind of feel that this is a slightly softer twist than if you were maybe doing a dynamic practice. There's kind of softness in the neck. You might even give the head a little shake. There's a softness in the jaw. And you're not kind of using the belly and using the breath to pull you around. You're just kind of settling into that. You might even let go of the toe and the thigh and the kneecap. Just creating a bit of softness. And if you do feel like there's quite a bit of tension in the neck, you could even just drop the chin towards the chest and move the chin towards left shoulder and right shoulder. Just a slight little movement into the neck, so you're not creating tension there. You want to let go of any tension. And if you're moving the neck, just bring the chin back to the center of the chest and then lift the head. And then we'll take an inhale and bring that left hand, which is behind you, hopefully, up towards the sky. Draw back through that left shoulder, press through the right heel a little, and then as you exhale, begin to fold as if you were folding over towards that right foot. Have the palm facing down at the top there, and then we'll play around with this. We'll see where we can find some comfort. So you might bring that right hand onto the thigh, or the elbow onto the thigh, and then bring the hand onto the head. So you can kind of stack the head on the hand and see if that works for you. And this hand that's at the top, you might bring to the back of the head or the neck so that the elbow is facing up. So it's a side stretch. Or you might find that that hand at the top, that left hand, could come to the back of the body. So the palm, maybe not the palm, the back of the hand onto the lower back. So maybe that would feel better. So see what would work there. It can feel a little bit odd, but it's probably what we're looking for is that stretch through the left side and into the shoulder. So see if you can find that and find a place to settle. And remember those exhalations, helping you to release physically, release the body. So there's a lot of science around gratitude. There's a lot of research that's gone on, and it says that it's like a muscle. It's like any other muscle that needs to be worked so that it can remain strong. So expressing gratitude not only to others but also to ourselves is said to induce positive emotions, primarily happiness. And by producing feelings of pleasure and contentment, gratitude can then impact on our overall health and well-being as well. So research is showing that simple things like gratitude journal can cause less stress, can improve our sleep, can build emotional awareness. And it almost works like a natural antidepressant. It physically has similar effects to taking medication. And it's been shown to have like long-lasting effects. So long-lasting happiness and contentment. And it's even been shown to release dopamine and serotonin in the body. So these two very crucial neurotransmitters that are responsible for our emotions and basically make us feel good. And they can have an instant effect on how we feel. So So basically consciously practicing gratitude every day, we will strengthen the neural pathways to ultimately kind of create that permanent sense of gratitude and positivity, which is pretty incredible, I think. So take another deep inhale here. And as you exhale, begin to releasing that hand from the top. And you might just sit for a moment, or you might feel that you just need to bend the knees. Bring the hands behind you, open the heart, move the knees side to side, or just simply sit. So feel what would be right. And then when you're ready, we'll do that on the other side, so that left leg is out to the side slightly, right leg bends, sole of the foot towards the thigh. Do tuck away with the pelvis at the back, because that will help to keep the spine long, keep you stable. Bring the hands beside the hips. Inhale, lift the spine, lift the heart. And as you exhale, you're drawing and looking over the bent leg, so that right leg, the left hand coming to the thigh or the knee, and then the right hand behind. So settling into a little bit of a twist there, but try to create some softness. So there's a softening through the shoulders. You're just letting the shoulders and the arms be heavy. You're not yanking the neck and the head over to that right shoulder. Rather, there's a softness. And if you feel that that movement in the neck was useful for you, then absolutely do that. But see if you can just breathe there, not really striving to get anywhere in particular. Just being there. And you can use that exhalation to keep your focus. And when you're ready, take another inhale and reach that right hand up, the one behind you. Draw back through the shoulder ever so slightly. So you're drawing an opening, and then begin to fold over towards that leg, that long leg, which is your left leg. You might press through the heel just a little, and then feel into that. Where would be right for you to go? So maybe the elbow, the left elbow comes onto the leg, and then the palm comes into the head, and then maybe that hand at the top can rest on the back of the head, perhaps. Or maybe that feels rather too strong for maybe shoulder or side of the body, so you could maybe bring the back of the hand onto the lower back or towards that left hip. So see what would be right there. And rest in. So it's said that gratitude has the power to really transform our thoughts and our relationships, and then ultimately our lives. So our thoughts really make up how we feel. So Albert Einstein said there are only two ways to live your life: as though nothing is a miracle, or as though everything is a miracle. So when we practice gratitude, we look around and we actually see just how many miracles are happening around us. The miracle that we are here and breathing. The miracle that the sun shines every day. And there's so many wonderful things that we don't often see. We don't always see them unless we actually go out and look for them. We tend to focus more on the obstacles and the difficulties in life because that's how our brain has evolved. They demand some action. So we have to kind of fight to overcome them to get back to a normal flow of life. But on the other side of that, we forget to attend to all the good things in life because they're already there. We don't have to do anything because they're already there. So practicing gratitude is the kind of best way to remind ourselves of the things that make us happy, of the things that are good in our life. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, begin to release. Help the legs to then bend, and you might just sit in stillness, or you might have some movement. Feel into what would be right. And then we're going to take our props. So use pillows if you have them, or you could use a bolster. So we're going to create a nice back bend to rest onto. So if you're using pillows and household things rather than your bolster, have a couple of things that you pop on top so you kind of create a nice place to be, but make sure you've got that step between each thing. And then have your cushion on top for your head. And then really settle in. So really drawing the props in. If you're using a bolster and you find that it's a little bit too much of a back bend, you might find that bringing that underneath the bolster creates that kind of incline. And then you're going to roll over your props. Make sure that the head is supported and there's not too much of a back bend. So we want a little bit in there, but we don't want it to a point where you kind of feel that pinching in the lower back. You don't feel you can stay here. And then allow the shoulders to open. So you're kind of drawing the shoulders across your props. You're really opening up through the collarbones. And then allow the palms to face upwards. And really let yourself rest in. So what you do with the legs is totally up to you. So maybe bent. Maybe soles of the feet together, or maybe legs long. And then take a few deeper breaths and really become aware of the breath at the chest. Breathing into the heart space. And then allow your awareness to settle down into the palms of the hands. So this is one of my go-to practices, particularly at night before I go to bed. Such a simple practice, and it feels so nourishing. So we're just going to plant little seeds of gratitude at each finger and thumb. So be aware of the palms of the hands. Be aware of all the sensations there. And And then bring your awareness to the right hand thumb, feeling the right hand thumb, feeling the tip of the thumb. And at the tip of the thumb, just consider something or someone that you feel grateful for. And just plant it there, just as a little note, remembering. And then bring your awareness to the index finger. Feel the index finger and the tip of the finger. And then consider something else or someone that you feel grateful for. And remember that these things don't need to be big, grand things. Quite often it's the little things that we realize are so important. Maybe it's the color of the trees at the moment, bird song, the roof over your head, hot water coming from the tap. But see it there, the tip of the index finger. And then move to the middle finger. Feel and sense the middle finger. And then feel something else that you just feel a little bit glad about being planted at the tip of the finger. And then move to the ring finger. Feel all the sensations. And then planting gratitude there. And then the little finger. And then moving across to the left hand. Feeling into the thumb. Feel all the sensations. Feel the tip of the thumb. Planting a little piece of gratitude there. And then moving to the index finger. Feeling the tip. And then something else that you just feel really glad that it's in your life. And then moving to middle finger. Appreciation planted there. And then ring finger. And then the little finger. And then can you feel both hands, all the fingers and thumbs, all together? Can you sense and feel all of that gratitude at the tips of the fingers and thumbs? And then as you breathe in a little bit deeper and feel that you could almost draw that gratitude all the way up through the arms, into the shoulders and into the heart. And then as you exhale, it's almost as if it filters down into the rest of the body. So try that a few times, breathing in from the fingertips into the heart. Almost then on the exhale, it allows it to then percolate through the rest of the body, up into the head and the face, as if gratitude could fill your whole body. And then just resting your awareness at your heart once more. Feeling the rise and fall of the chest. And then beginning to move the fingers little by little. Move the toes perhaps. Draw the knees back in if they're wide. And just gradually begin to move. So when you might roll off your props, or you might roll back up. And when you do, come into child's pose. So you could use your props, maybe 2 pillows if you have, or your bolster. So knees are a little bit wider, the pillows come nice and close in, so that when you come down, you can really release the belly and the chest onto your props. As a way of releasing that back bend. And begin to focus now on the soothing rhythm of the breath. It's almost like a wave, each breath moving across belly and chest. Soothing and calming the nervous system. And if you pay attention to the exhalation, does that allow you to release just a little bit further? No effort, nowhere to get to. No right or wrong here. Just simple awareness, simple being. And then bringing the opposite cheek onto the bolster or props, so you can release the other side of the neck. And notice if thoughts come in, which no doubt they will. Just notice that. And have the intention of just simply going back to the breath. taking a longer, deeper breath. And then when you're ready, slowly begin to roll back up. And when you do, you can come to lie on your back. We'll do our happy baby pose, so drawing knees in, just as a way of realigning the spine. So bring hands in between the legs to take hold of the ankles and just draw the chin towards the chest and the shoulders down away from the head. And that might be where you stay. This might feel like plenty, so do remember your edge here. Or you could take the sides of the feet, the outsides of the feet, and take the soles of the feet into the air. So whichever feels right and good for your body. Seeing if you can just rest into that, knowing that you can go back a stage at any point if you need to. So incorporating gratitude into everyday life, so important particularly when we're feeling stressed and there are difficulties and challenges in life. A journal is great, but might not work for everyone. A gratitude jar, having little post-it notes, writing down the little things that you feel grateful for, and then when it's full, reading them all. A gratitude rock or stone, kept in your pocket. I keep mine on my bedside table. And when I see it, I just have that moment of just a deep intentional breath and bring to mind something that I feel glad about in that moment. The gratitude walk. So walking in nature we know is wonderful for us. Mindful walking is great for us. So if we do that, we can then bring in the things we feel grateful for. And a useful way is this 10-finger gratitude, just noting something on each finger. Feels in a kind of easy way. Mindful eating, so noting where your food comes from as you sit down for a meal. It can be pretty incredible to consider all the people that have been involved in bringing that food to your table, and almost as if you could offer gratitude out to each and every one of them. So it doesn't need to be big and grand and onerous. Just even a pause and a deep breath, and recalling what you feel grateful for in that moment. So take another inhale here. And as you exhale, release. And do any last little movements that you feel you need before your Shavasana. Or you might feel that you can go straight there. Do cover yourself if you need to. And let yourself rest in. Just feeling fully supported by the earth. You might check if the shoulders need to roll away from the head, chin to chest. Hands perhaps on the belly or the heart. this gratitude that you have created to move to your eyes, feeling and sensing your eyes, and perhaps feeling a little bit of gratitude for your eyes, to see the faces you love, to see all the autumn colors, to see birds in flight, and then this flow of gratitude moving from the eyes to the ears. Gratefulness to be able to hear laughter, family, children, to hear song of birds and music. And then gratitude moving from ears to lips, for all the kisses, the smiles, the yummy fruits and foods that you eat, for communication, and a kind of gratitude settling over your whole body, feeling grateful for your sense of touch, touching the ground here, touching your heart, feeling grateful for the richness of your sensate world. And maybe warmth and appreciation for the wisdom of your heart. See if you can just open up to receive any messages that might be there. And then beginning to find your breath again. Long inhales, maybe sighing out through the mouth. And then gradually finding some movement. Fingers, toes. Slowly coming back. Coming to sit for a moment, resting in awareness of your practice and how you feel. And as you move through the rest of your week, you might continue to work with this gladdening of your mind towards a sense of thankfulness. And you might also be curious about how it affects you. Because if we see any benefits, then we're more likely to come back to it. So just notice as you move through the rest of your week how it feels. Then bringing the hands to prayer, closing with one Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. So thank you for your practice. Namaste.